Hello, this is May or May Not Be a Human, and today we're playing some more Guild of Dungeoneering. Hooray! Holy crap, we're playing this game. Wait, which one of these was the one I was playing? Let's just continue. There we go. Okay, so today I have the wiki pulled up with information about monsters and other such things, which should be useful. So what I said about the apprentice is really good in this fire dungeon here, but there is a problem with it, and that is that it is a level 3 quest. And let me explain why that's an issue. So, if you'll recall in a previous episode, I mentioned how you can only get up to 2 battle scars. Well, the way it works is that your first battle scar typically gives you something good, and your second battle scar has a higher probability of being bad. And what this means is that your Dungeoneer, the character that you've been playing with those 2 battle scars, has essentially dropped its effectiveness as of their second dungeon. So I think what we are going to end up doing is probably sending in Bilbo the Chump to do this first quest, and then send in the apprentice to do the levels 2 and 3 quests. Is there anything else? Yes, so another thing is that I said that it's really good to have anti-magic and magic damage here, which is true, but in actuality, Lord Umbro does not have that much magic damage. He's got, let's see, 6 physical damage cards and 3 magic damage cards. However, we're still going to end up going the holy route with the apprentice, because it's really good, and in fact, Lord Umbro does not have any magic defense cards, but he does have a physical damage defense card. So, actually has 2 pretty good ones. So our goal here is to get a magic damage dealer to the boss fight, and to kit him out with some all defense, or with some shields that'll give him defense against all types of damage. And holy is still the best option for that. Armor actually does have the armor skill actually does have a all block at level 4, I believe. But I don't think that's quite as important. I'm more concerned with getting holy and fire. So with that said, let's expand our guild. Now I'm gonna get all of these. And the reason, I'll explain my reasoning for this in a second. Let's see, this is leatherworking, so let's put you there. And then woodworking. Getting all of these is incredibly important. Like I said before, this one blessing will carry you through to tier 2. And I didn't explain why last episode, but let me give you an example. So let's take a look at the other blessings that we've got. Trickster's Favorite, +1 loot choice after each first 2 fights. Talisman of the Warrior, +1 to first physical damage in battle for first 2 fights. And Talisman of the Crone, +1 starting hand size in battle for its first 2 fights. Now, these are all of these others besides this one are incredibly situational. So, and especially Talisman of the Trickster and Talisman of the Warrior are entirely luck-based. So, let's say, for example, you get +1 loot choice slot after the first 2 fights. That's a total of 4 loot choices in your first 2 fights. Assuming that you're good enough to use both of those fights to level up once, so that you maximize the chance of getting good gear, you still don't know if you're going to get something you're going to end up using. And there's a good possibility you won't. Now, Talisman of the Warrior is honestly, in my opinion, the worst blessing in the game. +1 to a single +1 damage to one single attack in the first 2 fights of the game is trash. Not to mention the fact that the enemy you're going up against might have armor or some kind of blocking ability. Talisman of the Crone isn't bad. +1 starting hand size in battle for first 2 fights, but I would only use this on certain people. The Apprentice is a solid choice, and actually the Mime, which is honestly the worst class in the game, is another really solid choice for this, because the Mime is all about utility and getting a very specific combination of cards to eliminate your opponent's options. And Talisman of the Trickster isn't bad when stacked with the Cat Burglar's effect, which does literally the same thing, bonus treasure card. So that means you get 5 choices in the beginning of in your first 2 fights, which is pretty solid, but I'm not concerned about that right now. That being said, we only have so many more things we can buy. So my plan is to get Hidden Den and Talisman of the Trickster for the Mimic chest fight, which is the dungeon after this. And that will... I like using the Cat Burglar there because she has Swift, which allows her to win fights quickly. I know it's just the name, but still, you do have a higher probability of winning when you start with some Swift cards. But... not only that, but she's got a bunch of extra loot options too, and that does give you a higher probability of getting loot that you do want, but there's always that chance that you won't. Especially in such fast-paced dungeons, that's an incredibly important factor to consider. So we're gonna build the Cat Burglar, and where do I want this? This is fine.
We've all had some fun. You could say you've come very far, but brace yourself for some woeful cat puns. Now we have
the Cat Burglar. Meow. Meow. Nyan. Alright, I'm going to pause it for a second because I think the window is slightly off-center. Give me 1 second. Nah, it was fine. I'm just stupid. Okay, so we've got that, and we're also going to get the... Sure. Yeah, let's get it. We're going to be using it for sure in that third dungeon I talked about. The third one we've done so far after the Rats dungeon. Okay, so now we've still got 230. We can go ahead and buy up the things that we're not going to use, just so that once we've, here's the Mime, and I'll explain why this is a bad class in a second.
Is there anything that's more soul-destroying than having to rhyme all the time? There's only one thing perhaps more annoying, and that
would be insufferable Mime. And let's see. I'm just buying all these up so I can get the upgraded forms later when I have the option to choose between them. So let's see. I'll build this, and I will build this, and just like that, we filled out our tier 1 stuff. So, let's see here. We've got our chump. I'm going to review the Mime with you. Let's see, what shall we name our Cat Burglar? Come on. There we go. Alright, I decided we would name him Robin. Robin Hood. There we go. So, Cat Burglar is an interesting class. 1 unblockable damage, 1 swift attack. All of their non-effect-based damaging effects do 2 physical damage, and Catnip is really nice. The reason that you would use a card like this, I know it seems, at first it seems really good, but if you think about it, you're really only doing 1 damage, you're just saving 1 damage. And you might think, oh, well, I mean, there's no reason not to just have a 1 physical damage card, but this is good in certain situations. So let's say, for example, I've already used my Pounce card. I've got 2 Throw Cats in my hand, and the enemy has just pulled out a 3 Red Shield effect. I can essentially just save my attack for next turn, doing extra damage and guaranteeing that I will, in fact, be doing a lot of damage. So I can keep health advantage effectively. Also, another good thing is you can add damage up and then use Scratch to finish them off. So if you can get a total of 3 damage off of this card with that, which is really awesome. Now, for the Mime, who we should also name, I'm going to name him Skeleton. Oh, come on. Piece of... There we go. He's after a famous comedian from, I think it was like the 30s? I don't know. Anyway, he also looks like a skeleton, and as far as I'm concerned, that's what he will be very shortly. So, the Mime is a load of trash. I have not found a use for the Mime. Basically, it's revolved around manipulating your opponent's deck so that you can choose what cards they play next. So, for example, Stage Presence, 1 damage. If successful, enemy discards a card. Now, basically, what happens is you'll see it'll show their next 2 cards, and you can choose which one to discard. And then Copycat's the same thing. You can, that will actually just clone their next card. You don't get to see which one it is unless you use Stage Presence first. Now that I'm thinking about it, I guess that the primary application of the Mime is a very late game against difficult bosses who have a lot of powerful cards. If you can get them with some really powerful level 4 skills, because early game I tend to have them killed within the first couple of fights because I can't get them to work properly. And that being said, I think I'm actually going to try the Mime in this first dungeon, just to see if we can get him a good, because we've already got a good battle scar on Bilbo here. I want to save our Cat Burglar for the Mimic chest fight in the 3rd dungeon, and I want to save the Apprentice to maximize her potential in this dungeon we're about to go into. Now, on the other hand, this Mime is incredibly expendable, and we can... Yeah, I'm still going to keep Hugging a Bottle because it's just incredibly solid. Alright. What is this? What's the goal here? Alright. So, Stupidity 1, Flamethrower. I'm going to tab... Well, I don't even need to tab out. I can just look at the... Dun, dun. Bum, ba, ba, dum, ba, 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 bum, bum. Let's see here. So they've got a single 1 fire damage, a fire damage that... 1 magic damage card. A card that gives magic damage and also pierces, and then a... Wow, is that literally it? What a terrible monster. I want to fight these guys. And then a fiery weapon, which does 1 magic and 1 physical damage. Now, unfortunately, No, I don't have to play by the game's rules. I don't need to fight an enemy on the first turn. I literally just have to defeat 3 monsters, and there's no reason not to maximize my chances since I don't have a time limit. Let's see here. Here we go. Night Owl. I mean, that's okay. It's only got 5 health, and I can handle it. Plus, it's got Stupidity. I can manipulate this guy's hand fairly well, which is going to be really nice. So he starts off immediately with his best card. I don't think the mime has any magic defense, so discarding a card doesn't really serve a purpose. I'm going to wait till he uses up the rest of his deck and then use it on a fiery weapon. Or I could also clone it. Either way, I can't see myself losing this fight, so... That being said, I just used my highest power attack. See, this is the tricky thing about the mime. I don't know how to maximize his potential. Let's see here. Copy the top card to your hand. That's just 1 damage. That doesn't give me anything. His next card is either going to be Stupidity or a single magic damage. I'm going to use Imaginary Box. I know it's a waste of a red shield, but he only has 1 red damage. And I'd rather... I'm going to save my Copycat. I'm going to use Stage Presence. Okay. And I'm going to discard Spark. Wait, no. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference, actually. I'm going to win this turn. Oh, I forgot I had this. Oh well. So I did actually survive by maintaining a health advantage, but as I just showed you, I wasn't able to really maximize the potential of the mime. Now, this is an interesting choice right here. I'm actually going to take this because the ability to have more cards in my hand to have a good combination is really important for the mime. I don't like taking the Stupidity, but I'd rather have the... it's a solid choice. I can't justify not taking it. Besides, I don't need to fight any level 2 monsters. I can just keep fighting Fire Imps until... okay, there we go. Immediately off the bat, we get some nice... So let's see if we get lucky enough, and no, there's a 50% chance of their next card. Either way, I can make them discard Fiery Weapon, so... See, by having knowledge of what the opponent's deck is going to be, I automatically give myself the advantage by being able to know the probability of what the next 2 cards are going to be. So, he's got 4 cards, and what just happened was, he'd already used, I can't remember what he had used. He had used, like, Flare and Spark, which meant that he had either Stupidity or Fiery Weapon next. Now, this card allows me to choose between the 2 cards to discard, and he only had 2 cards left, so I knew either way I was going to make him discard Fiery Weapon. I had a 100% chance of eliminating that card from his deck. Alright, he's going to cast Stupidity next. There we go. Oh, nice. I got a Fiery Weapon out of that. Not that it matters. Alright, so... I would like to give myself more damage, but I don't know what direction I want to take it in. If I just keep fighting... I want to keep my Wise, so I'm not going to get the Bandana. Shift could be interesting because of the Swift and the Draw card. But on the other hand, I have a lot of magic damage modifiers, so increasing the amount of magic damage I have is a solid choice. And that's what I'm going to end up doing. Okay, so Scaredy Spiders. Let's look at Nature 2, Spooky 3. Okay, so Nature 2 is 1 damage on Nature 1, and Nature 2 is 1 damage if successful enemy discards a card. And then spooky, I believe, is... okay, it's a mix of magic damage, healing, and red shields. I think we can take him. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so I need to maintain health advantage here, so I'm going to do this. Okay. So he used Claw, Drain, and what was the other one? I forgot, sorry. This new, like, remembering what cards they have and using that to determine what they're going to draw next is still new to me. I mean, the obvious choice here is to maintain health advantage, but he's low on cards, which means that I can choose his next hand pretty well. So if I just stay even with him, discarding Neurotoxin, because that's a pain in the butt and I can't defend against it. Or I could have actually... I should have done that one and then used Bullhorns. Now I can't do that. Health advantage takes precedent. Considering we both have equal health as well, that's important. Ah, here we go. Now he's frail, so he takes extra damage from this. Yeah, that was what I should have done in the first place. See, we already won. Start with Crush 1.
Quite a bore, and certainly not becoming. But what we have here next in store will surely have you running.
Okay, so there's something I should have done here. Now, on dungeons with boss fights, I would not recommend doing this strategy, but in fights where you are doing nothing but walking around and defeating monsters, and there's a monster limit or something equivalent to that, there's no reason not to put down as many tiles as you can and move on to them so that you get extra gold out of it. I did not do that. Now, in boss fights, I don't like to do that because the boss fights are going to end up being in, like, it's an objective you have to get to, so you have to walk all the way back. And, additionally, a lot of, bosses will have effects where they will automatically engage you in combat. Those monsters are good to fight, by leaving a long trail of, tiles to explore. But, there's some that you have to get to, or you automatically die within a certain time limit. I believe Lord Embro. I keep trying to say Lord Umbra. Lord Embro has increased health if you leave him for a certain number of turns, and he'll come and fight you with that extra health. So what you want to do is level yourself up and fight him to give yourself an advantage. It's a fine balance to find. So in dungeons like that, you want to stick close to the boss fight if you can, because it's more important that you keep your Dungeoneers alive, the ones that you want to keep, rather than just allowing just getting a few extra points of gold. So, we've now finished the first part of this boss. Let's see, loot all... Okay, so you have to collect a certain number of massive gems in this dungeon. And there's no time limit here, so this is a really good time to farm levels with the apprentice. But it's already been 24 minutes, so I'm going to wrap up the video here and come back to you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye! This has been MayOrMayNotBeAHuman.